The very relationships that should serve as your sanctuary often feel like the heaviest weight on your calendar when your internal capacity is depleted. Burnout creates a complex tension, where emotional exhaustion and depletion drive individuals to withdraw from social interactions, leading to significantly decreased engagement. Chronic burnout is fundamentally associated with this type of social isolation. However, social support acts as a critical protective factor against burnout symptoms, and maintaining these ties is linked to lower levels of emotional exhaustion, even when the condition promotes a desire to retreat. When social withdrawal occurs, it frequently exacerbates the severity of the burnout cycle, rather than providing the intended relief. This experience is often compounded by heavy layers of shame, guilt, and fear regarding how your professional and personal relationships have shifted. Clinical burnout involves shame-related withdrawal, where self-criticism leads to avoidance behaviors that damage interpersonal bonds and complicate the recovery process. Professionals navigating this depletion frequently describe profound feelings of inadequacy and moral distress for failing to meet extents. While guilt can sometimes lead to repair, shame is specifically tied to an intense self-focus and social withdrawal that strains relationship functioning and leaves many feeling they have lost their inherent value. Strengthening relationships during burnout recovery requires navigating these obstacles to rebuild trust and nurture reciprocity without compromising your limited energy. Perceived support from partners, family, and friends serves as a foundation for mental health by reducing perceived stress and improving emotional well-being. Interventions that focus on strengthening these social assets help mitigate burnout severity, illustrating that safe connections are a strategic tool for healing. This post explores how to integrate relational health into your recovery system to ensure your well-being remains a sustainable asset. Burnout beyond the individual. Relational impacts. The emotional depletion at the core of burnout functions as a predictor of significant interpersonal strain, often manifesting as a reflexive withdrawal from those around you. This state of exhaustion reduces your capacity for empathy and frequently increases irritability, making even standard social interactions with family or friends feel physically and mentally taxing. You may experience a hollowing out of your internal resources, which leads to a sense of detachment that convinces you that your inherent value has been lost. High performers often find themselves physically present but emotionally inaccessible, creating a gap between their capacity and the expectations of their personal roles. This depletion inevitably spills over from the workplace into your home life, negatively affecting communication and overall functioning. When you are operating in this state, your relationships often bear the weight of unspoken needs and what appears to be an uneven distribution of effort. Naming this dynamic is a practical step to reduce the shame that fuels isolation and to open the necessary space for repair. Putting complex feelings into words is a form of affect labeling that regulates the stress response and reduces emotional distress. Acknowledging the reality of your situation in your own language creates the emotional safety required for authentic connection. This transparency allows you to move toward a shared understanding with your inner circle and address challenges with both authority and compassion. Relational health serves as a critical mirror for your recovery system. Watering these connections gently strengthens the foundation required for your return to sustained professional capacity. The power of vulnerable honesty and reconnection. Explaining the reality of burnout provides the necessary context to maintain connection, rather than serving as a simple list of excuses for withdrawal. When you openly communicate your stress and coping efforts, you allow your partner to coordinate support strategies that improve overall relationship functioning and resilience. This transparent exchange of information fosters mutual understanding and facilitates effective joint coping. Self-disclosure, which involves sharing personal thoughts, feelings, and stressors, serves as a primary relational process that builds trust and deepens intimacy. By framing your experience through the lens of context, you transform a period of depletion into a strategic opportunity for relational growth. Using intentional phrases to open a dialogue increases perceived partner responsiveness and strengthens emotional bonds. Expressing needs clearly, such as acknowledging that you have not been your full self or have required more space, allows both individuals to engage collaboratively in recovery efforts. This transparency increases relational satisfaction and ensures that both partners are aligned in their goals and emotional connection. Open communication about internal states reinforces relationship health over time and replaces confusion with clarity. Vulnerability is a strategic choice that invites support and reduces the friction caused by unspoken distance. The expressive disclosure of negative emotions to a partner elicits more effective and supportive responses because it helps them recognize specific needs. Consistent self-disclosure is associated with higher levels of intimacy and relational satisfaction, proving that vulnerability acts as an invitation for connection. These vulnerable interactions contribute to a more supportive environment as partners learn to respond accurately to relational cues. Adapting relational norms for recovery. Healing requires your relationships to adapt to your current limits and evolving needs. Feeling accurately known by a partner involves an understanding of your specific experiences, which significantly predicts greater relationship satisfaction. This sense of being understood highlights the necessity of adjusting expectations as your capacities. Perceived partner responsiveness, where you feel validated and supported, sustains close psychosocial connections. This responsiveness must evolve alongside your recovery to remain effective. By aligning your relationship dynamics with your real-world leadership demands, you transform these connections into a sustainable professional asset. You and your partner can maintain cohesion by intentionally creating and revising your communication rules. Successful couples negotiate new norms regarding the frequency of contact and expectations for availability when behavior changes. You can regulate your commitment and satisfaction levels by adjusting your communication frequency to match your current energy. These relational maintenance behaviors include clarifying expectations around emotional labor, such as caretaking and venting. Engaging in this mutual accommodation helps you navigate necessary shifts in roles and tasks while supporting long-term growth. Framing these updated boundaries as mutual care prevents the perception of withdrawal or distancing. Perceived partner responsiveness serves as the foundation for this care, mediating your emotional well-being and strengthening your bond. When both individuals acknowledge personal limits and experiences through supportive communication, they foster shared coping and achieve stronger relational outcomes. This approach allows you to protect your energy while deepening the connection with those in your inner circle. This strategic realignment ensures you build a more resilient system for both your life and your leadership. Rebuilding trust after burnout-related disconnection. Clearly acknowledging a gap or hurt serves as a vital initial step in the trust repair process. Sincere apologies and the direct acknowledgement of harm increase trust significantly more than remaining silent or avoiding the issue. When you communicate with empathy and take responsibility for the distance, others interpret your acknowledgement as meaningful rather than defensive. This non-defensive stance fosters greater openness to reconciliation and continued interaction. High-achieving leaders often find that naming the impact of their burnout-induced withdrawal helps restore their professional and personal credibility. This path to restoration requires you to express regret for the impact of your actions while maintaining an honest perspective on your own needs. Apologies repair trust by increasing your perceived trustworthiness, which allows you to move away from the excuse narrative and toward context. A comprehensive apology includes expressing empathy, acknowledging the violated norms of the relationship, and offering a path forward. This structured approach allows you to validate the other person's experience without erasing the boundaries required for your own recovery. By integrating responsibility with self-advocacy, you demonstrate that your commitment to the relationship remains a strategic priority. Trust remains fragile and requires a gradual rebuilding process rather than a rushed attempt to fix the situation instantly. Even sincere apologies rarely return trust to previous levels immediately, illustrating the need for patience and sustained effort. You rebuild trust incrementally through consistent, trustworthy behavior and responsiveness over time. Prioritizing presence over performance serves as a powerful tool in this transition. The mere presence of a supportive partner or colleague can reduce physiological stress responses and foster a secure environment for healing. This shift toward calm attention and emotional availability provides the psychological safety necessary to deepen trust as you return to full capacity. Nurture. What feeds you beyond familiar patterns? Burnout serves as a strategic opportunity to reevaluate which connections in your life feel restorative and which feel draining. High-quality, supportive relationships where you perceive your partner as understanding and responsive are linked with significantly better mental health and well-being. Not all connections sustain you equally, and negative or hindering social interactions often impact emotional well-being more strongly than positive ones. Maintaining relationships that consistently drain your energy can have disproportionate negative effects on your recovery. By choosing connections that feel mutual and emotionally safe, you build a foundation that reduces stress and increases positive affect. Prioritizing emotionally meaningful and mutual group connections supports overall mental well-being and provides a necessary sense of community. A strong sense of social connectedness beyond individual ties is associated with lower symptoms of depression, anxiety, and stress. These nourishing relationships often emphasize the quality of interpersonal connection over the sheer frequency of interactions. Poor quality relationships are more strongly tied to negative moods than the number of times you meet, making depth a more valuable metric for your recovery system than quantity. Strategic recovery involves engaging in group interactions that facilitate both receiving and providing emotional support. Balanced reciprocity within community groups or recovery-oriented circles directly increases your psychological well-being. The resilience-building process also benefits from shared enjoyment, where playful interactions and positive interpersonal events boost resilient thinking. Integrating these light-hearted social moments ensures that your connection with others becomes a source of energy rather than another professional demand to manage. Identifying when to create distance for healing. The reality of burnout recovery involves acknowledging that not every relationship possesses the capacity to strengthen during your healing process. Negative or draining interactions, such as criticism and undermining, exert a significantly stronger impact on your emotional state than positive interactions contribute to your well-being. Distancing yourself from these harmful dynamics serves as a protective measure for your mental health. Relationship patterns characterized by repeated cycles of instability are linked to higher psychological distress and poor communication, proving that some connections detract from your recovery. Evaluating these cycles and stepping away where necessary remains an essential component of professional and personal self-preservation. Certain behaviors signal a clear need to step back to safeguard your internal capacity. Emotional manipulation and coercive communication tactics detrimentally affect psychological well-being and justify strict distancing. Healthy boundaries allow you to maintain autonomy and avoid situations that exacerbate stress, yet these require respect from others to function. When individuals repeatedly violate your established limits, creating distance becomes a necessary strategy to preserve your well-being. Minimization of your experience further erodes the safety required for recovery, signaling that the relationship may no longer be aligned with your strategic goals. Part of building enduring self-trust involves letting go of relational overfunctioning. Individuals who habitually take on the emotional burdens of others experience higher stress levels and lower relational satisfaction. Reinforcing your limits and reducing responsibility for the emotions of others preserves your mental health and lowers the risk of future burnout. Prioritizing your own needs over the impulse to overfunctioning supports a sustainable recovery system. This shift in how you show up in relationships allows you to reclaim authentic control over your life and leadership. Small acts for rebuilding connection during recovery. Strategic action does not require high energy output. It requires intentionality and a shift toward low-effort engagement. You can show care through burnout-friendly methods that protect your limited capacity while maintaining the integrity of your bonds. Sending a thoughtful text message with an explicit "no need to reply" note allows you to maintain visibility without imposing a social debt on yourself or the recipient. Using voice notes instead of participating in long phone calls serves as another effective tool for sharing context while controlling your energy expenditure. Scheduling low-effort check-ins, such as a short walk or shared quiet time, provides the benefits of partner presence without the demand for high-level performance. These small acts of presence are associated with reduced physiological stress responses and help foster a secure environment for relational healing. By focusing on these micro-interactions, you demonstrate commitment to the relationship while adhering to an adaptable system of recovery that respects your current limits. This approach ensures that your relational upkeep remains a sustainable, integrated part of your broader strategy for professional and personal longevity. Reclaiming your connection. A path to integrated resilience. Relationships possess the capacity to grow through the recovery process because they are both tender and resilient. Strengthening your connections while healing involves creating an aligned way of interacting that honors your sustained capacity. You ensure your social world supports your leadership by integrating strategies of vulnerable honesty, renegotiated norms, and intentional presence. This process is about moving forward with a connection that reflects your current needs rather than returning to a previous status quo. Consider which relationships you wish to water gently during this season of healing. The shift from exhausted withdrawal to empowered balance begins with a clear communication of your needs. You deserve a life of integrated strength where your professional success and personal fulfillment exist in harmony. If you are ready to move from diminished capacity to sustained professional performance, you can begin by mastering your internal system. By joining our mailing list, you will receive strategic insights designed specifically for high-achieving leaders. You are also invited to register for an upcoming live masterclass to begin building your own framework for lasting resilience.